In a land where the sun kissed the earth with golden fire, and ancient trees whispered secrets to those who would listen, there lived a girl who was born into darkness, not the kind that comes with night, but one that never lived with the morning. Her name was Adama. This is not just a tale of struggle, rejection, and pain. It is a story of spirit, of vision born from the soul, of a girl who transformed her curse into clarity, and her silence into a song that echoed across generations. Come closer, open your heart, and let the story unfold. The night the storm came, the sky over Yumizi village cracked open like an egg. Thunder rolled through the heavens, and lightning forked down to kiss the earth, lighting up the little thatched roofs and narrow clay paths of the village like midday sun. The elders would later say that such a storm had not struck in a generation, and it could only mean that a spirit had descended or awakened. Amora lay in the dim light of their hut, soaked in sweat, groaning with the pain of labor. Her husband, Chidi, crouched beside her, gripping her hand while the village midwife barked instructions. The rain pounded the thatched roof like drums, and outside, a wind howled like the voices of the ancestors. At exactly the stroke of midnight, with a final cry that blended with the wailing wind, a child slipped into the world. "She is here," whispered the midwife. "A girl." Chidi let out a breath of relief. Amora, exhausted but smiling, reached for her newborn daughter. She was beautiful, skin like fresh palm wine, curly tuft of black hair on her head, and fingers that curled around Amora's thumb like they already knew love. But something was wrong. The child didn't open her eyes. At first, the midwife brushed it off. "She is tired. The world is still too loud for her," she said. But as minutes turned into hours, and the baby still didn't respond to the flickering firelight, didn't blink, didn't flinch, the truth settled in like cold harmattan dust. Chidi leaned close and waved a hand before his daughter's eyes. No response. He struck a match. Still nothing. The midwife looked grave. "Her spirit is strong," she said, "but her eyes, they do not see." Amora's heart fell like a broken pot. She cradled her baby tighter. "No," she whispered. "No, not my child." But in the wind, something whispered back. "She will see what eyes cannot." They named her Adama, meaning beautiful daughter. And beautiful she was. But in the village, her beauty was always spoken in the same breath as her difference. "She is the blind one, is she not?" villagers would say. So pretty, and yet. As Adama grew, it became clear her blindness was not just an early delay. Her world was wrapped in darkness, and she navigated it with her hands, her ears, her nose. She learned to recognize footsteps, the sound of lizards rustling in the grass, the whisper of the river that ran past the edge of their farmland. Amora became her daughter's constant guide, teaching her how to dress, eat, and move through the world without sight. She would tie bells on the edges of mats and doorposts, so Adama could orient herself by sound. She sang as they walked the narrow paths of the village so Adama would always know where she was. But not everyone saw the child's difference with kindness. "She is cursed," someone once whispered at the village square, loud enough for Amora to hear. "She must have looked into the eyes of a spirit in the womb," another said. Chidi grew quiet in those days. The laughter that once lit up his face began to fade. He spent more time in the fields, less time at home. He never said it out loud, but Amora felt the chill between them, the silent question, "Why our daughter?" Adama, too young to understand fully, felt the weight of something she couldn't name. She once asked her mother, "Why does Papa not sing to me anymore?" Amora's heart broke again. "Because he forgets the right songs," she lied, stroking her daughter's hair. By the time Adama turned 7, her place in the village had already been defined, not by who she was, but by what she lacked. Children in the village ran barefoot through the fields, climbed mango trees, and played Su in the dusty open spaces. Adama, though, sat under the large Udola tree near her home, listening to the wind. When she tried to join the children, they would laugh and move just far enough that she couldn't find them. Once, a boy named Ikechukwu snatched her walking stick and ran off with it, calling out, "Blind bat! Come catch me!" Adama stumbled and fell. Her knee scraped, her lip bled, but she didn't cry. Instead, she pressed her fingers into the earth and whispered a story she'd been making up, a story of a bird with no eyes that learned to fly by listening to the wind. "Why do you always tell stories?" her cousin Nene asked one day, half curious, half mocking. "Because stories are the only things I can see," Adama replied softly. At school, it was worse. The village school had one teacher for over 30 children. He barely knew what to do with a blind child. He gave her oral work at first, then ignored her entirely. "She is wasting space," he muttered once. "Better she stays home and learns weaving or basket making." Amora would have none of that. She began teaching Adama at night, retelling lessons from borrowed books, pressing grains of millet into the girl's hands to teach counting, forming letters in sand. Despite the cruelty, Adama never stopped dreaming. She dreamt in colors she had never seen: fiery reds, ocean blues, emerald greens. She dreamt of spirits that whispered secrets, of trees that walked, of rivers that spoke. In her dreams, she saw. And one day, she began to tell the villagers what she saw. It was in her 8th year that Adama first heard the voice. She was sitting alone near the riverbank, running her fingers through the soft wet clay and humming one of her mother's lullabies when the air shifted. It was a strange sensation, like the hush before a storm: no wind, no rustling trees, just an eerie silence that settled over the world. Then came the voice. Gentle, ancient, like it had been speaking for centuries. "You see without eyes, child." Adama froze. "Who's there?" A breeze brushed her face, carrying the faint scent of lemongrass and wood smoke. "Do not be afraid. You know me already." She wanted to run, to call out, but something within her whispered to stay. "You are not alone," the voice said. "There is power in your darkness. When the world stops seeing with eyes, it begins to see with spirit." Then the wind returned, the birds chirped again, and the world felt normal once more. Adama didn't tell anyone about the voice. Who would believe her? They already thought her strange; another tale would only deepen the mockery. But the voice came again, night after night, whenever she sat alone under the moonlight. It told her stories, histories, and secrets hidden beneath the surface of things. She began to feel like the trees had names, the rivers had memories, and the wind carried messages. And always, the voice ended with the same words: "Your blindness is not your weakness, but your path." Every year, the village held the Festival of Tales, where elders, children, and visiting traders gathered to tell stories, sing, and dance by firelight. It was a night of laughter, competition, and glory. The best storytellers were crowned with garlands and given roasted goats and yams. For many, it was a chance to be remembered. Adama wanted to participate badly.